lay it right up against the wall, and that's going to bring us out square, which is very important to keep your measurements accurate. Then I'm going to go ahead and mark the edge of the square to go ahead and mark that piece and right where the 12.5-inch measurement was. And always double check, because you want to measure twice and drill the hole once, because you don't want a bunch of holes you got to patch from being not accurate. So that looks good there. So now what I got here, this is a 4.5-inch drill bit. And these are kind of pricey. I can't remember. I think I paid about 50 bucks for it. So you're going to be needing it to put your toilet flanges in. So you're going to have to bite the bullet and buy it. But all we got to do is put our drill bit right in the center of that hole and then go ahead and drill it out. All right. So now we got the toilet hole cut out. This is going to be, we're going to be using a 3-inch closet flange that goes right in there. And now let's go ahead and drill out the other holes before we put anything down. Now I'm going to be drilling the hole for the sink, and this is a 2 1/8-inch hole saw. And in order to put this in, I went ahead and came over 12.5 inches for this 24-inch sink from the edge of the wall, and that's going to give me my measurement. And then I'm just going to go center of the 2x4 wall, and that's going to be exactly where it's going to be placed. So now let's go ahead and get that drilled out, and just go ahead and put this right in the center of that mark and go ahead and drill it out. So I'm through the plate of the 2x4 wall, and if you've never used a hole saw before, there's something you need to know. You got to take a nail or something to get the piece of wood out of the center. So however you find it easiest, but there's little holes in the back side of the hole saw you can push a nail through most of the time. So it depends on the brand, and then after you get so far, you can usually pry inside these bits to get it out. So there we go. Now I got finished the hole by drilling through the subfloor. And just so you know, this hole is for 1.5 inch pipe. That's what I'm going to be using for the drain. 1.5 inch is the most common sink drain. So that's what I'm going to be doing, and check with your local building codes before you decide what you're going to use. So here's the back side of the shower pan I'm going to be installing, and this is the same 4.5-inch hole saw I used to drill out the toilet. So as you can see here, that's a little bigger than the actual hole we're going to need, and that's fine because the actual piece that goes in here to adapt the plumbing pipe is actually a little bigger than this hole anyways, and it has to go down into the floor, and it's still just about 1/4 inch too big. But that's okay, because as you can see, there's supports here this far out, so the hole could be clear out into here, and it ain't going to hurt anything structurally with this shower base. But check with your shower base and see if you can use a 4.5-inch hole as well. And this is going to require a 2-inch pipe, just so you know while we're talking about it. And this shower base was sitting right over here in this bathroom, so let's go ahead and drill that out. So I found this measurement just by simply placing the shower base on the floor and then just tracing around the hole. So you can measure out from the shower base edge to get your measurements, but also notice directly center in between the wall to wall. So this was a pretty simple one, so let's go ahead and get this one drilled out. Boom. All right, to drill out for the water lines here, if this is where the drain is on your sink, just come over 4 inches to the left and right, and I put mine up through the floor because I found it to be easier that way. And then come over, either come 8 inch off that mark or 4 inches over off that center of the drain, whichever one you want to do. And then always come 3 inches, let me say it again, 3 inches off the wall, and that's going to give us the center of the cold water here. And then come 3 inches off this side of the wall, and then mark the center, and that's for our hot water. So 3 inches and 3 inches, so hot and cold. And I use a 5/8 drill bit to drill out for 1/2 inch water lines. This seems to be about right. And after observing here, it looks like we're on top of a floor joist right there. So let me not drill that one out right now. Okay, so whenever there's a floor joist like there is here, these water lines don't have to be exactly one way or the other. So I'm going to go ahead and move this over a little bit. Let's just go